Your boy Turk from the Young Turks. He's in another one of his effeminate rages. This dude acts as if he was raised by a single parent. Like, he does not know how to convey an argument without using it homonyms and deflections and being all emotional and effeminate, like a girl. Like, I really don't know what's wrong with this dude, but he pretty much lies in his little rant on the fact that the Buffett rule got voted against, filibustered by the Republicans. But just listen to some of the silly things this man said, and let's just examine what he's saying.
They went to Vegas and party. That was $800,000. Okay, you know what the Buffett rule would create in extra revenue? $50 billion. But that's a drop in the bucket. But $800,000, that the world should come down. Oh my God, we're so upset. Solyndra, scandal. Okay, $500 million, right? The Buffett rule, $50 billion. Do you understand the scale here? So Solyndra, oh my God, Solyndra, the biggest scandal the world has ever seen. How can you waste government money like that? But $50 billion, oh, that's a drop in the bucket. It's nothing. Ignore the rich, please, whatever you do, I love the rich. I want to make out with a rich person every single day. That's basically what John Cornyn is saying on television. And please don't hurt him, dog. I love him so much. And if you say, hey, they should pay their fair taxes, we're not even asking for their 35% rate, which is the legal rate. We're saying, hey, at least pay 30%. And they say, asking the rich to pay their taxes is class warfare. How could you? Okay? And this is done to divide the country, etc., when you know we would all unite if we let the rich pay no taxes at all.
All right, let's just, Turk, you lie. First of all, he talks about the situation that happened in Vegas, which is just stupid rhetoric the Republicans threw out there. Yeah, the Democrats spent a lot of money and wasted it. $800,000, almost $1 million that was wasted. But he brings up Solyndra, and Solyndra was the energy company, the alternative energy company that the government gave $500 million to, and the money went down the drain. The company, it went out of business. It was a waste of money. It was a bad policy, bad plan. It didn't work. The government decided to choose a winner, but it didn't. It chose a loser. But my question is, why is Turk comparing apples to oranges? Why is he comparing irresponsibility as far as the Vegas situation goes and a failed policy that wasted $500 million of American taxpayers' money? Why is he comparing that to this extra 6% that would allegedly be $50 billion over a period of time, which he doesn't mention? But he's comparing apples to oranges. He's comparing scenarios that don't even go together. The $50 billion that he speaks of is based on the 6% extra what people who make over $1 million would pay. Now, I don't understand this at all. Like, what is his point? Why is he comparing these two situations together? It doesn't compute, doesn't make any sense. Currently, people make over $1 million. They pay 24%. Add another 6%, that would be at 30%. This is what I guess the Democrats want. The money allocated, Turk says, will be $50 billion in revenue. Now, he's comparing this $50 billion in revenue compared to the wasting of Solyndra. Now, you can look at Solyndra, it fell, it was a waste. Look at Cash for Clunker, it fell, it was a waste. The mortgage program, it fell, it was a waste. So it's not just Solyndra. There's a whole bunch of different policies that have been implemented during Obama's administration. They were failures and they were waste. Add all those up and get that number, but they won't even pay attention to that. That's irrelevant right now, I guess. All right, let's get this magical number. He brought up a $50 billion. You see the fluctuation in his voice? $50 billion, he does not tell you or break it down that this is not a year. This is $50 billion for 10 years. So when you take the 1% people who make over $1 million, they're paying roughly about 24%. Raise it 6 more percent, and in 10 years you'll get $50 billion from that amount of money. Now, he doesn't tell you that per year. This is only $4.7 billion. You can round it up to $5 billion, but this $4.7 billion a year is what we'll get from raising the taxes from 24% to 30%. That's it. We spend $4 billion a day. So that means this only covers 1% of the deficit. 1% of our spending budget, actually, put it that way. So it doesn't make any sense. This Buffett rule is illogical, is irrational, doesn't make any sense. It's stupid.
So poor that it doesn't apply to them. But they pay the payroll tax, they pay the sales tax, and it's a much larger portion of their income than it is for the rich, even if they're paying this Buffett rule. Because you're taking such a huge chunk out of the money that they have to spend to actually live. But so what's he doing though? He's saying, we are taxing the rich too much, we're not taxing the poor and the middle class enough. That's why he's saying that the bottom 46% should have to pay more in taxes, the top 2% should have to pay less. He's saying it right there. They just have given up any pretense of caring about the average citizen at all. They're just putting their flag and saying Republicans are for the rich. And if you vote for them and you're not among those millionaires, you're a jack.
Again, he rephrases over and over again. He says paying no taxes. He did that a few times throughout the entire video. His, response or his accusation is no taxes, but he's basing that off just the dilemma of them not raising the tax rate 6 more percent. But he keeps equating that not giving the 6 more percent to Republicans loving the rich and not wanting to tax them at all. He keeps saying this as if they're not paying any taxes, and that's not the case. They're just not paying an extra 6% that Democrats want, that we already know is pointless. It's going to take 10 years. It's only going to cover 1% of the deficit, 1% of the spending, and only 0.7% of Obama's total budget. But then he goes on and hits you with the ad hominems and deflections, and he calls people who vote conservative or Republican stupid, which is what liberals do when they can't refute anything with logic and reason. They call you names. We know who does this. Feminists do it. Women do it. Turk does it. He does it all the time. He can't express himself any other way. Like I said before, he acts as if he was raised by a single mother. Maybe he had 2 gay dads. I don't know. But that's how he's acting right now. Our deficit is in the trillions of dollars. He's whining over $50 billion that's going to take 10 years to get. This little 6% that he's asking for, Obama and his Buffett rule. I mean, I don't understand why it's even an issue. Why hasn't anybody broke it down from the left on the news to show you that it really doesn't matter? It's just chump change. It's only 1%. We spend about $5 billion a day. That's only 1% of our spending budget. We spend that much 365 days of the year. This little Buffett rule will only cover 1% of the bill. So it doesn't make any sense. But Turk's not going to tell you that. He's just going to whine and cry and use homonyms, deflections, and call people stupid for voting for Republican because they don't want to support this bill or this Buffett plan. So poor that it doesn't apply to them. But they pay the payroll tax, they pay the sales tax, and it's a much larger portion of their income than it is for the rich, even if they're paying this Buffett rule. Because you're taking such a huge chunk out of the money that they have to spend to actually live. But so what's he doing though? He's saying, we are taxing the rich too much, we're not taxing the poor and the middle class enough. That's why he's saying that the bottom 46% should have to pay more in taxes, the top 2% should have to pay less. He's saying it right there. They just have given up any pretense of caring about the average citizen at all. They're just putting their flag and saying Republicans are for the rich. And if you vote for them and you're not among those millionaires, you're a jack. He goes on in this video and he talks about how this guy is saying something that he did not say. He only points out the fact that 47% of Americans, that's everybody who makes under 32 grand a year, they pay no federal taxes. He points that out, but Turk puts words in his mouth by saying he's saying that they should pay more and the rich should pay less. That's not what he's saying. He's only reminding people that these individuals don't pay any. And the reality is, even though the guy didn't say it, the fix to that situation is that we need a flat tax where everybody across the board is paying 10% of their income, no matter how much you make. That's the only solution. We need a flat tax, and we need politicians to stop spending like crazy. the people who Obama appointed to oversee all this, his own people he appointed, a non-bipartisan group, they said that taxing is not going to fix our deficit issues. Spending is our problem. We need to stop spending. That means conservatives need to stop being so damn warmonger and going over places we shouldn't be. And that means liberals need to stop with all the entitlement programs that are failures and don't help people to actually help people because they make them handicapped. Those are the only solutions. Until that solution happens, we're going to be in the same situation. Let's just say for kicks and giggles that the Republicans were only for the rich. Does that mean that the Democrats are for the poor or that they oppress the poor? It's actually both. They're for the poor and they oppress the poor, and they do this by convincing them that the reason why they're in their situation is because of other people are rich. That's one of the obvious lies of the left. That's how the whole class warfare thing plays into play. That's why the majority of Americans support the Buffett rule, and they don't even realize it's irrelevant. It's not going to benefit them. It's just a waste of time, and it's just a deflection. You got people like the president, like he said in his State of the Address, you know, me in Congress and me and my pals in Congress, we have this extra money that we don't need at the end of the year because we're not taxed that extra 6%. But my question that I haven't been able to get an answer from is, why don't all you liberals who want to pay more, why don't you just pay more? What's stopping you all from writing a check? And that's including the Oprahs, the Buffetts, the Bill Gates, who all support this. Why don't you just get in a little pot and just give the money to the government? Like, that's what you want everyone else to do. Why don't you start by example and you do it by yourself? It's not going to happen. Secondly, all these Hollywood hypocrites, you got people like Michael Moore and among others who perpetuate this same lie, and they know damn well they benefit off a lot of those same tax cuts that Bush implemented. So the hypocrisy is ridiculous. It's kind of funny that how many celebrities go to jail because they don't pay their taxes, yet they're supporting taxes being raised. How many politicians, when Obama ran in 2008, that Obama picked to give positions in his cabinet, that it was like at least 8 or 9 different people, wealthy Americans, all liberals, all high elite, that they didn't pay their taxes. And unlike us, when we don't pay our taxes, none of them are in jail. They get breaks, they get passes. Apparently they are above the law. But that's a different story right now.
Done to divide the country, etc. When you know we would all unite if we let the rich pay no taxes at all. Republicans work for the rich. How? If you're not a millionaire, what are you doing voting for Republicans? How stupid are you, man? They just use your vote and then they laugh at you. They laugh at you behind your back. Here comes more
For some reason, this dude has this opinion or epiphany that the only reason why people vote Republican or Democrat or primary Republican is because of money, which is completely idiotic for him to even make that statement, to call people jackasses because they choose to vote Republican. You know, this whole call people names because they have different opinions again, realize that's the liberals' MO, that's feminists' MO, that's people who think irrationally and illogical's MO. They can't refute you with facts and logic, so they revert to a hominem attacks. We know that that's standard, that's what they do. But it's annoying that a grown man is on TV panting like a little female over a situation that if you break it down, it doesn't make any sense. But just like a woman, they don't want solutions. They just want to argue about the problem. The obvious, clear solution is a flat tax. And liberals won't adhere to that for some reason. Another quick, just to put things in perspective. You notice how Obama kept saying the whole rhetoric, situation with Warren Buffett paying less of a rate than his secretary. Well, just to put that in perspective real quick, so we can understand what's being really said here. Because the way it's twisted in the media is making it seem like, all the wealthy people are paying a lesser rate than a secretary or their secretaries, which is not the case. Out of the 1%, which is about a million people, a little bit over a million and a half, close on average, These people out of this situation, out of these top 1%ers, only 2% of this 1% is in that situation that Warren Buffett is in, where he pays a lower rate than the secretary. That's 22 people. Okay? All this hoopla about that situation is 22 different families in the United States that have this benefit or what have you. If you break it down, that's simply your Warren Buffetts, your Bill Gates, maybe your Mark Zuckerbergs, the dude who's on Facebook, people of that nature, and then name 19 other people. That's who we're talking about. Those people do not account for all the other 1%ers. That's just 2% of the 1% that are in that predicament. Okay, we absolutely do need tax reform. We need to get rid of the tax code, period. We need a flat tax. But meanwhile, raising taxes on the affluent, the people who give, the other 99% jobs, it wouldn't be wise to raise the taxes. Why? Well, one, businesses aren't here to be your friend. They're here to make money. You're an investment, and you work for them, and they pay you. Raising their taxes, that affects their income. Either way, the poor are going to get hit. Either the prices are going to go up, or the jobs are going to go overseas, or people might just pack up and quit. And sad as it sounds, I think that's what liberals have that mindset of doing. If they can't get you to do what they want you to do, they'd rather have you just lose it, which is some idiotic 2-year-old mentality that little kids do. Like, they'll complain and complain and complain to the point where everybody gets in trouble and nobody wins. That's what liberals do. That's what it seems like Turk really wants. To them, the ends justify the means, so that means that people stop hiring, if people go overseas, if people raise their prices. Those are all situations that can occur from raising the 6%. Live in New York. I live in New York, and we have a ridiculous taxes here. I live in Western New York, not in the city, not in the rat hole. The reason why we have ridiculous taxes is because we have state tax, sales tax, property tax, you name it, we have it. Our cost of living, as far as rent, is not too high, but everything else is kind of ridiculous. Our water and our electric, even though we have the power plant here, we still pay way too much for it being in our facility. We actually give New York City a discount on their power, which I don't understand. But basically, Albany, Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo, we all get raped in taxes for the benefit of New York City, so they can have cheaper cab fare or cheaper public transportation. That's pretty much how it breaks down. Not cab fare, but their transportation is cheaper on the benefit of us. Not only that, but we have ridiculous county taxes. You know, I looked at my cell phone bill the other day, and I pay at least, I have the Sprint Everything plan. It's only $69. My bill is $110. Out of that $69, that's just Sprint's money. The rest of that bill, from the $69 to the $110, that's all taxes and the cell phone bill. So it's getting ridiculous. Raising taxes is not the issue for anybody. We need one flat tax. We need to stop raising taxes, because those situations, people don't even realize. They don't look at their bills, but they're constantly going up. In New York, it's getting crazy. It's to the point where businesses and companies come to New York. We got the people who want to work. We got people who have good work ethic. Yet we have the space and everything. But these employers, these people who have the jobs, they're like, yo, I have to see what your tax is going to look like before I do it. And they leave. Like 4 or 5 big companies have come here in the last 2-3 years that would employ thousands of people, but they don't stay because the taxes are too damn high. Like that brother said, in New York City, the rent's too damn high. Well, in New York State, our damn taxes are too damn high, and we don't need any more higher taxes. Now, how does that hurt? Or us, the 99%, because the 1% don't want to open up jobs here to give us those opportunities to work for them. The owner of the Buffalo Sabres, he was paying too much taxes. He said he changed his address. He moved to Florida. A year later, he sold the team. Now, if you look at LeBron James, he left Cleveland to come to Florida. People don't realize that, but part of that was because of taxes. I don't care what anybody says. Even though Cleveland's going to pay him way more money, the amount of money he took a cut to go to Ohio, to go to Florida, he saved himself money by the different taxes alone. Now, let's just say what these athletes are doing, what these owners of sport teams are doing, they're cutting bait and they're shipping out or they're selling their companies, they're going overseas. How does that benefit the 99%? How does that help the American people when the 1% who employ them leave or quit or stop hiring? How does that benefit us as a whole? I'll wait.